Does shadow boxing with hand weights make you punch faster and harder? Not really. Stay tuned, let me explain why. Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back to Kifiye Boxing. So today's topic is shadow boxing with hand weights, okay? Something that's been done for years, decades and centuries, okay? Still done today. A lot of gyms do shadow boxing. Shadow boxing itself is a staple of boxing training, okay? It's one of the fundamental training methods, it's crucial, it's brilliant, and I'm all for shadow boxing, okay? Shadow boxing with hand weights, I have done it in the past when I was younger, when I was training in a boxing club. Over the years, I've learned about it and it's a hot topic. Some people are for, some people are against it, okay? Let me just explain to you why I don't do shadow boxing with hand weights, okay? Stay tuned. Okay, so for this video, I'm going to be using some plates, okay? Because I don't own hand weights, okay? For this reason, I don't hold hand weights. So here I've got 1.4 or 1.25 kg. Okay, 1.25 kg. So when you do hand weights, shadow boxing, people use 0.5 up to about 2 kg. Some people even use more. Okay, so let me just give an example of these. Shadow boxing with these, obviously, the whole idea of people thinking is I can punch faster and more powerful if I'm pulling weights in my hand. Okay, one of the things I want you to remember here is that when I'm spending 3 minutes shadow boxing with this, shadow boxing with these hand weights, once I put these down, my hands will feel lighter. It's common sense. I've been walking around with these. I've been boxing with these for 3 minutes. Yeah. So my hands will feel lighter, but not necessarily my hands are faster. Okay. It might feel to me that I'm punching faster, but they're not necessarily faster. It's just to me, they're lighter. Okay. So a lot of people, it's like in the placebo effect. A lot of people think, oh, I've done 3 minutes with these. I put them down and now my hands are faster. I'm punching faster. Okay. It's not the case. Okay, it's not the case. That's one thing I want you to remember. Okay. Okay, you understand that point. Now, let's break down the punch. Let's look at the body and see what happens to the whole body when you're punching. Okay, so the first thing is your feet are grounded to the floor. Okay, they're grounded when you're about to punch. Your legs are bent. You're in that crouching position. Your hips will rotate into that punch. Your core is going to be engaged. Okay. Your whole body will twist into it. Your shoulder and your arms will then release it to that punch, okay? So you're punching straight forward there. Boom. So the whole body is working. Now, when you want to punch faster, the whole body has to have a bit more pressure on, has to have a load on the whole body. Now, when I pick up the hand weights, when we're boxing with the hand weights, where is the pressure? Where is the stress? It's mainly on the forearms and on the front deltoids, okay? So when we're boxing with these, they will get tired, your arms will get tired, your shoulder will get tired. But these weights aren't necessarily pressurizing the whole body. Does that make sense? So you may think you're punching faster, okay, but your whole body isn't working together. That weight is just pressurizing your shoulder and your arms. And what happens? They get fatigued, okay? So what we need to do to punch faster and more powerful is to work the whole body. Okay, so there are other exercises that will help you to punch faster and stronger, okay? So, for example, a go-to exercise is a landmine punch, okay? The landmine punch where you got a Olympic bar that's on the floor, you add some weight on it and you're actually practicing that punch, you're thrusting that punch. What happens there is your whole body is working behind it. The whole body is behind that punch, behind that movement. So you're improving the speed and the power, the strength of the whole movement of that punch, not just in your hand and arm, okay? Then you have another exercise, the bridge, where you can lie down on a bench, your shoulders are on the bench, and then you've got a dumbbell in your hand and you're pushing it out. So it's like a bench press, but you're punching out straight, okay? That there, the load is on your body, your whole body's engaged, and then you're pushing against the force, which is the weight wants you to come down, but you want to push it faster upwards, okay? There's other exercises. Press-ups itself are brilliant, okay? Press-ups itself are brilliant. There's other exercises like a medicine ball throw, okay? Having the medicine ball, getting in your boxing stance and just launching that medicine ball across the hall, okay? These are the exercises that will work the whole of that chain of body, from your hips to your legs, to your feet, to your core, to the body, to your shoulder, to the arms. These are the exercises that will help you to become more explosive, build that power and build that strength in your body. Okay, these are exercises what you need to do more than just hand weights, shadow boxing. Okay, so now let's just look at the shadow boxing, okay, holding these weights, with these weights. Okay, so that weight just wants to drop. Okay, so if I let go of this, it just wants to drop. So the force of that is bringing my arm down. Okay, so if I'm holding it here, I'm punching out, yes, because I'm powerful enough to punch it out. But the actual weight wants to drop. So when it's here, it's not too bad. But when my arm goes out, it's more force now, and it just wants to drop. And all that pressure is on the front shoulder, front deltoid. Okay, so this is going down. So I gotta fight against that to keep it up. Okay, now a punch. So the weight wants to just drop down. We punch so vertically, yeah. Vertically just wants to drop. We punch horizontally. Okay, therefore the landmine punch, the bridge when you're on the floor and you're punching out, that will go the same direction. Okay, holding the weight, want to drop your hand, especially if you've got heavier weight. Some of these people, I've seen some people use really heavy weights, up to 5 kg. Okay, and the hands just want to drop. Okay, so this is what you got to remember when you come to shadow boxing. When you're loading that weight into your hand, the weight wants to go down naturally, but we want to punch. So what happens is our shoulders get fatigued. Yeah, they get fatigued. And the next point is when your shoulder gets fatigued, we can adopt bad technique. Okay, one of the bad techniques is this, that when we're tired, we drop our hands. Okay, we drop our hands down to here. Number 2, when we're punching, because the weight is at this, when it's extended, the weight causes more stress, so we want to drop. So we punch and drop. Okay, we punch and drop. We punch and drop. Over time, you will adopt bad habits. Okay, so because you're tired, you'll throw it and you'll drop it a bit, so you get used to that. So if you do a lot of shadow boxing with hand weights, that's one of the cons of it, is that over time you will adopt bad habits. Why? Because you're fatigued. Okay. Now, in one of my boxing clubs, we had a coach who would always do a lot of work with weights, to the point where they do a lot of shadow boxing, they would do circuits, and he will get the youngsters or even adults with dumbbells, do a lot of bicep curls, a lot of punching out, okay, before they even done any boxing, right? So when the kids are boxing, they'll punch in, they're dropping, and then the coach will shout, put your hands up, so then the kids will put their hands up again, yeah? Later on, once they've done the circuit, once they come to the boxing, what's happened? The shoulders are so tired that when they're boxing on the bag, they're dropping the hands. What happens? Coach is shouting at him, keep your hands up. But the problem is, how can the kids keep their hands up? Because half an hour before, we just battered these kids with hand weights, heavy weight. So here, the shoulders are tired and they're dropping the hands. So when it comes to the bag work, they're keeping them up, but eventually they're dropping the hands. Why? Because they're fatigued. And then the coaches are saying, keep your hands up. You got a bad habit. Keep your hands up. Okay? So when you look at the training, you look at what they're doing, it makes sense. You've loaded them up with heavy weight. Okay? You've fatigued their shoulders. When it comes to the boxing, they can't keep their hands up. Okay? So this is one of the downsides to shadow boxing with hand weights. You can adopt bad habits, poor technique over time. So you've got to be very, very careful when you're doing this, okay? Now this is one of the most common questions I've been asked as a boxing coach is, should I shadow box with hand weights, okay? Now, my answer is no. I'd rather you concentrate on other things, okay? So when somebody asks me, I say to them, work on your technique first, okay? Prioritize your technique. Put that hour and time in working that jab, okay? The more you put time and effort into perfecting your jab will become faster. Simple as that, okay? Then there is other things that we can do. Okay, when it comes to exercises, strength and conditioning, yes, like I mentioned earlier on, you got the landmine push, you got the bridge bench press push, okay? Med ball throws, okay? Then there's other exercises like plyometrics, okay? You can do strength training, okay, to improve your overall strength of your body, to improve the explosive power, and the fast twitch fibers. Sprinting is another one, okay? Circuit work, okay? Press-ups. Some of the kids want to do shadow boxing, yet they can't do 10 press-ups of good form, or even explosive press-ups, okay? So we always, quite often, look for the secret, okay? We look for the the buzz method or the buzzword or this, but we forget the fundamentals, okay? My kids' sessions, when I ask them to do press-ups, a lot of them struggle to do press-ups, okay? So they're not building that body weight strength. Yet, they're happy to go do shadow boxing with a 2 kg weight, okay? So you want to be overall faster and stronger and more explosive. Box jumps, for example, okay? Exercises that will build that strength and power in your whole body, that can work the whole kinetic chain when it comes to that punch, okay? So you'd rather be focusing on that to get faster and stronger punch than shadow boxing with hand weights, okay? I hope this has given you an insight into the shadow boxing with hand weights saga, drama, whatever it is, okay? I hope you enjoyed this content. If you have any questions regarding this or any other requests for anything, please put your comments in, and your feedback is very much appreciated. Until next time, guys, take care, be safe. I'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.